Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 2025 PACMRI Masterclass webinar series. While we wait for the program to officially begin, let me share some quick reminders. For our Zoom participants, kindly make sure your audio is on mute and your video is turned off. Once you enter the room, so you may use the chat box to send in your questions. Later on, during the open forum, you may also use the raise hand function if you wish to ask your question live. Most importantly, let us all be respectful and be mindful throughout the session. Thank you, and we'll begin in just a moment. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Philippine Association for Communication and Media Research Incorporated, or PACMRI, welcome to our 2025 Masterclass webinar series. Our fifth masterclass is entitled Notes from the Field Scholarship Trends in the Development Communication Landscape of Mindanao. This masterclass explores how development communication has expanded and developed in terms of scholarship trends in the Mindanao landscape. I am Kyle Patrick de Guzman, and I will also be your host and moderator for this event. Let us be all reminded that the views and opinions expressed in this panel are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. Before we proceed, we would like to acknowledge our institutional members who could join us today. We are grateful as well to all the participants joining us via Zoom. Thank you for taking the time out to be with us today. At this point, to formally open today's masterclass, we are honored to hear from the president of PACMRI, Dr. Chen San Pascual.
Good afternoon, magandang hapon. Welcome to the fifth session of this year's PACMRI Masterclass Series. PACMRI, or the Philippine Association for Communication and Media Research Incorporated, is a University of the Philippines-based non-stock organization that aims to advance knowledge in communication and media phenomena involving the Filipinos and the Philippines. Founded in 2019 by the University of the Philippines Department of Communication Research, PACMRI envisions a knowledge-based society that values, uses, and innovates communication and media research. PACMRI endeavors to promote the systematic study of developments, changes, and challenges in Philippine communication and media, to contribute to enhancing the competencies of local communication and media researchers in conducting and disseminating scholarly works, and to facilitate the engagement of communication and media research practitioners and institutions in Philippine society. The PACMRI Masterclass Series, one of our flagship projects, aims to expound on the various philosophical, contextual, and practical concerns that inform and elevate the studies that we conduct. We at PACMRI hope that the series results in a vibrant and rigorous communication and media research culture in our country. This afternoon's masterclass session is PACMRI's first collaboration with Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan. Our colleagues will be sharing their field notes, reflections, and insights on scholarship trends in the Mindanao region. So please invite your peers to join us. They can still log in and catch up. By the way, please check the resources page of PACMRI's website for the complete library of all our online masterclass sessions from 2022 up to 2025. So go check out www.pacmri.org for all our uploaded masterclass sessions, which are accessible for free, and you are all welcome to view and to share our content. Mabuhay ang pananaliksik at mga manaliksik ng komunikasyon at media. Let us all have an engaging afternoon. Maraming salamat.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chen. Now, let us proceed to our masterclass proper. We are honored to have both Ms. Rechelle Tolinero-Barraquias and Dr. Shiella Balbutin for this session. Because this is a back-to-back discussion, I'll read both bio notes on hand. First, we have Ms. Rechelle Tolinero-Barraquias, a seasoned development communication practitioner and educator, currently serving as chairperson of the Development Communication at Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan. With over a decade of experience in communication for social change, she has led numerous youth engagement, peace building, and media literacy initiatives across the Philippines and the Asia Pacific region. She is presently pursuing a PhD in development communication at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, where her research focuses on the lived experiences of media and information literacy teachers in digitally challenged communities. Her work integrates participatory communication frameworks, sociocultural approaches, and grounded fieldwork, reflecting a deep commitment to inclusive, community-rooted development practice. Let us all give Miss Rechelle a digital round of applause. Now, let me present to you Dr. Shiella Balbutin. Dr. Shiella Balbutin is a dedicated educator and expert in media and communication for development, with a focus on internationalization and global education. Currently, she serves as the director of the Office of International Cooperation and Networking and is an assistant professor of development communication at Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan. Dr. Balbutin brings substantial expertise in international project management, cross-cultural communication, and global collaboration. Her work is pivotal in fostering international partnerships and enhancing global educational opportunities. Dr. Balbutin's academic achievements are notable, including her Erasmus Mundus scholarship for a European MA in Media, Communication, and Cultural Studies, and her leadership roles in the Erasmus Mundus Students and Alumni Association, where she was awarded the EMA Star Awards in 2015. She has also held a prestigious fellowship from Sapienza Università de Roma, focusing her PhD research on migration among Filipino youth migrants. Her extensive training and academic pursuits reflect her commitment to advancing the fields of media, migration studies, and international education, contributing significantly to both local and international communities. With all that said, let us all give a welcome to Dr. Balbutin. And now for their video presentation.
Afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much to PACMRI for this invitation. Thank you very much for your patience, especially because this session has been moved several times. We thank you for your understanding. A lot of things have happened over the last few weeks now, especially here with us in Mindanao. To understand where we are now and where we are heading, at Xavier University's Development Communication Program, it's important to look back at where we began. Now, our story is deeply rooted in Mindanao's soil. Ours is a legacy that began 5 decades ago. We were under the College of Agriculture when communication was introduced not as a theory, but as a practice of empowerment. Back then, DevCom meant working alongside farmers, producing radio dramas and farmers' school on the air, and documenting stories of change in the countryside. So those early years taught us that communication is most powerful when it grows out of people's lived realities. So through the years, that spirit of grounded engagement has continued. It expanded from agriculture to governance to peace building, environmental stewardship, and even digital citizenship. So today, as we celebrate our continuing journey and our recent transition to the College of Arts and Sciences, we honor the people, the projects, and communities that shaped who we are as a program. And to take us back to those beginnings, to remind us of the legacy that continues to inspire our work, let's look back at the story of DevCom at Xavier University. So here's our 4-minute legacy video.
Years ago, vision was born. Vision to harness the power of communication for change, for development, and for the greater good. At Xavier University Ateneo de Cagayan, the Development Communication Program began its journey. A journey that is in sync with the heartbeat of communities, the pulse of progress, and the rhythm of a changing world. In the 70s, as the country faced economic, social, and political crisis, the Rural Communication Center, or RCC, was established at Xavier University Ateneo de Cagayan. Its equipment was sourced by Reverend Father James Reuter, S.J., and donated by the Carmelite Fathers Communication Bureau. RCC cashed in on the popularity of the Visayan radio drama, producing success stories of local farmers applying new technologies at the time. Reverend Father William Masterson S.J., founder and director of the XU College of Agriculture complex, saw the effectiveness of RCC as a development and energy extension tool. Mrs. Corazon G. Calu, who became the center's first director, was then sent to Ateneo de Manila University to pursue a master's degree in communication arts. The knowledge she acquired and her close association with colleagues in UP College of Agriculture Los Baños and the Philippine Association of Communication Educators paved the way to the development of the DevCom curriculum in XU. The 90s brought challenges and growth. The program evolved, phasing out the AP major in DevCom, which was also offered in the College of Arts and Sciences, consolidating a full 4-year Bachelor of Science in Development Communication or BSDC program under the College of Agriculture. The program focused on communication for development of agricultural communities, banking on group dynamics, social psychology, and radio dramas. At the turn of the century, the DevCom program paced with a steady increase of enrollment, strengthening its presence in the college and the university, growing from a unit to a department. Today, the DevCom department continues to innovate, introducing various teaching methods, raising its standards, and engaging in meaningful collaborations. The program has also shifted from forming specialists to generalists, removing the two specialized tracks to adapt to the current trends and demands in the field. Through partnerships with government agencies, NGOs, and international organizations, XU DevCom remains at the forefront of development communication in Mindanao, the Philippines, and beyond.
Help me to connect with communities and tell their stories with the heart.
It is not just about communication, it is about creating change. 50 years of DevCom, 50 years of
50 years of transforming lives in sync with excellent education. 50 years of narrating stories in sync with communities. 50 years of communicating change in sync with the world. As our DevCom community of educators, practitioners, alumni, and students celebrate this golden milestone, we look back with pride and move forward with hope. We are proud to continue our mission of communication in sync with a changing world. Here's to the next 50 years of syncing with progress, one story at a time.
As the video showed, development communication at Xavier University has a long and meaningful story. 50 years of communicating for and with communities. So as I mentioned a while ago, we started under the College of Agriculture, and that shaped our identity. From the beginning, communication here wasn't just about information. It was about transformation. It meant talking with farmers, documenting stories of change, and helping bridge science with lived realities. So when our program recently moved to the College of Arts and Sciences, that shift wasn't just structural, it was symbolic. It allowed us to expand our reach, collaborate across disciplines, and deepen our research agenda to reflect not just agricultural development, but the complex social, environmental, and digital realities of Mindanao. So this transition positioned DevCom at XU as a stronger research hub for Mindanao-based and Mindanao-led scholarship, the kind that listens to local voices while contributing to the larger national and global conversation on communication for social change. And this brings us to the question, what does our scholarship actually look like today? Now, between 2014 and 2019, we have a student who did a meta study who examined 38 undergraduate theses from our department. So the goal of that study was to understand the trends and directions of DevCom research at XU and to see how our work aligns with the university's thematic research agenda and the development needs of Mindanao. So from this study, three major trends or themes emerged. So the first trend was media, information, and digital literacy. So this focuses on media, information, and digital literacy. It's the most dominant theme among the students' research. Many explored from our graduates before how people engage with news, how media represent women, minorities, and farmers, and how social media shapes public conversations and civic life. Now, what's striking here is that even in communities where digital access is uneven, our students are already taking questions or asking questions about who gets to participate in the information ecosystem. So they're trying to understand how information or misinformation affects people's ability to make decisions. So this directly connects to XU's research agenda on governance and peace. So by promoting critical media literacy, our students' research help build informed citizenship, which is foundational for both democratic participation and social harmony. So in some way, these studies are our small contributions to peace building in the digital age, helping Mindanaoan youth become discerning, engaged communicators in a landscape often dominated by noise and division. Now, the second trend is on practice of development, practice, and participatory communication. Here, we see DevCom in its most tangible form. Students evaluate agricultural IEC materials, cooperative programs, or government livelihood projects. They used models like the input process output framework and the fusion of innovations to assess whether people actually understood and applied what they learned. These studies connect closely with XU's thrusts on food security and governance. They show how communication can empower communities, especially farming and the fishing sectors. So by making sure that technologies and information don't just reach people, but also make sense to them. In Mindanao, where agriculture and fisheries remain vital yet vulnerable, this kind of participatory research helps us reimagine communication as a feedback process. It's a dialogue between institutions and communities. So it's a reminder that development happens when people are heard and not just informed. Our third trend is environment, risk, and resilience communication. Many of our students were motivated by their own experiences of disasters. Sandong, Ablo, Vinta. But I guess the most prominent of these three would be Sandong. So our students examined how communities receive and respond to disaster warnings, how climate issues are communicated, and how people rebuild trust and awareness after crisis. These studies align with XU's thematic areas on environment, health, and peace. So they reflect the urgency of communicating resilience in a time of climate crisis, especially for Mindanao, which has both experienced environmental degradation and conflict. Now, what I love about this cluster is how it turns suffering into insight. So the young researchers take local pain and translate it into knowledge that can save lives, strengthen community bonds, and restore hope. It's a communication research that heals. Now, while much of our scholarship is reflected in these research trends, what truly grounds our program are the communities we work with. Research, after all, only becomes meaningful when it's rooted in lived realities. And that's where our service learning and immersion programs come in. To share more about how our students and faculty learn with communities, I'll now turn it over to Dr. Shiella Balbutin, who will walk us through the heart of our DevCom pedagogy, our service learning and community immersion experiences.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us in today's masterclass. We're not just celebrating history, we are conducting an institutional review of 50 years of field-driven scholarship of development communication at Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan. We will share how DevCom has evolved in strategic models for social change over 5 decades. But first, let me thank Noel and the PACMRI team for giving us this platform to share our story and history with you. Okay, so the foundation of our model is the Jesuit mission. We view the core values of competence, conscience, and commitment as the essential components of rigorous DevCom scholarship. Our commitment to these values informed our instruction, research, and social engagement, as we have focused on the marginalized communities in Mindanao. DevCom is therefore one of XU's proven mechanisms for translating academic inquiry into social impact, generating evidence from the field. DevCom was strategically founded in a period of crisis, focused primarily on the underdevelopment of the agricultural sector. Happening around the mid-1970s within the College of Agriculture, this placement was not accidental. This established the scholarly trend of agricultural communication. The Rural Communication Center, or RCC, served as our first lab for applied communication, generating foundational scholarship on community media use. It produced pioneering programs that offer significant lessons in communication strategy, notably the use of Cebuano radio dramas for behavioral change and the Schools on the Air for structured education linked to agricultural productivity. I myself, when I was a student of DevCom in my undergrad, was able to produce a School on the Air on sustainable agriculture for the farmers of Valencia in Bukidnon. This intervention model proved our ability to close the development loop. By the 1990s, this success led to achieving full departmental status, shifting now our focus from pure agriculture to the broader field of communication for sustainable rural development. Then came the service learning and community engagement. This shift from simple community to outreach to formalized service learning pedagogy. This is more than just engagement. It's a scholarly trend that embeds practical community work that is curriculum-based. The service learning program ensures students use academic lessons and strategic planning to help solve real community needs, transforming our work into scholarly growth. We are training communication strategists, not just technicians. The collaborative SL program or service learning program is a convergent strategy. Our work following Sendong in 2011 demonstrated the power of strategic collaboration. DevCom student did not just assess, they designed and implemented communication strategies that were directly informed and inspired by the needs of the post-disaster environment. This proved that communication is the essential coordinating mechanism for complex, multi-sectoral disaster response projects. And now for advocacy and public platforms. Student platforms like Lansad, a photo exhibit, and Shagit, public communication exhibit, are prime examples of a crucial scholarly trend, knowledge translation and agenda setting. Designed as powerful data visualization tools, these platforms take rigorous field-based research on themes like poverty, health, or the environment and package them to engage the broader academic and civic consciousness. This is how we fulfill our commitment to be the conscience through evidence-based advocacy. Lansad is our annual photo exhibit. It's a signature platform where our students transform skills into high-impact, real-world development work. More than a showcase of photographic talent, Lansad is a component of our curriculum that utilizes the camera as a powerful tool for visual storytelling and advocacy. Students conduct intensive immersive fieldwork in partner communities, capturing narratives that illustrate local progress, challenges, and cultural life. By translating complex community issues into compelling, publicly accessible visual data, Lansad fulfills a dual mission, developing students into professional communication strategists while serving as a catalyst for community-led progress. And the last few years, we have worked with the LGUs of Balingasag, Hasaan, Claveria, and just recently Magsaysay. The CAS transition. In a way, we are expanding the horizon of inquiry with this milestone. As we commemorate our golden anniversary, and as next year, the transition to the College of Arts and Sciences is a vital institutional evolution, establishing the trend of broader societal relevance. Moving to CAS elevates DevCom as a fundamental social science, strategically positioning us for future interdisciplinary research funding, and enabling us to apply our field expertise to the full spectrum of modern challenges, from urban issues and mental health to cultural preservation. Now, the ultimate success of this scholarly model is our alumni. DevCom graduates are purpose-driven professionals who take leadership roles in NGOs, government, civil society, and global development. The culture of commitment and scholarly application instilled through service learning and community engagement is the measurable long-term knowledge transfer of our institution, and we are very proud of our alumni. So the takeaways. The Extra DevCom experience provides a model for institutionalizing applied scholarship. Our evolution from an extension model to a sophisticated service learning pedagogy proves that success requires more than just technical skill. Our students' field-driven communication competence is defined by a non-negotiable commitment to the underserved communities of Mindanao. So the DevCom story is a testament to unwavering institutional commitment, competence honed through field experience, guided by conscience, and leading to lasting commitment. We have successfully built a robust, field-tested model of applied scholarship across Mindanao. And this is something that we're very proud of. Thank you very much for listening. And now turn you over to Rach for the next set of presentation.
Now, as we look toward the next chapter of DevCom at Xavier University, we see a future that honors our long history while responding to the rapidly changing communication and development landscapes of Mindanao. Our recent transition into the College of Arts and Sciences marks an important milestone. It deepens our commitment to interdisciplinary teaching and research. It allows us to collaborate more closely with colleagues in the humanities, sciences, social sciences, and computing. This shift strengthens DevCom as a research-oriented program and aligns our work even more tightly with the university's thematic agenda: food security, health, environment, governance, and peace. Next year, we will be celebrating 50 years here at Xavier University. That's half a century of practice, partnership, and community-rooted scholarship. It's a moment for us not just to look back with gratitude, but to look forward with intention as we reimagine what the next 50 years of DevCom in Mindanao can be. Now, one of the most significant steps in that direction is the development of our new graduate program, the Master of Science in Strategic Communication for Development, or MSSCD. This program is designed for the next generation of development communicators, people who can think systematically, communicate strategically, and lead ethically. The MSSCD aims to nurture scholar practitioners who can bridge evidence and action, navigate evolving digital ecosystems, design communication strategies for complex development challenges, and even lead community-centered initiatives in government, in NGOs, the academia, and industry. The curriculum that we're building now builds on our long-standing strengths: participatory communication, community engagement, media and information literacy, environmental and risk communication, and even research grounded in Mindanao's cultural and social realities. At the same time, this master's program opens new pathways in strategic communication, advocacy planning, data-informed communication design, and even digital transformation. Now, as we look beyond 2026, our vision is to position Xavier University as a Mindanao-based hub for development communication and strategic communication scholarship. So it's a place where universities, NGOs, media institutions, and government agencies can collaborate to co-produce knowledge, shape policy, and elevate communication practice across the island. These futures and directions reflect a DevCom program that continues to evolve. One that's grounded in our roots, guided by our mission, and boldly stepping into what communication for social change and strategic communication can mean for Mindanao in the decades ahead. Daghang salamat. Maraming salamat po. And if you have questions, we are now ready to start this dialogue with you.
Okay, so I know that our audience members have a handful or burning questions at hand. So we now open the floor for questions and reflections. But before anything else, let us all welcome, of course, Dr. Balbutin and Miss Rechelle. You're already here po, right?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, good afternoon po. So for our Zoom participants, you may use the Q&A feature of our Zoom session or click the raise hand button if you wish to ask for live session. Okay, once acknowledged, please unmute, turn on your camera, and introduce yourself briefly. Okay, so I think we can start with one question. So I have here one question po. So any of you can answer it directly. So first, how do the DevCom scholarship trends in Mindanao speak to national issues in terms of policy making and legislation?
Come again. Sorry, Kyle, I didn't get that one.
Okay. The question is, how do the DevCom scholarship trends in Mindanao speak to national issues in terms of policy making and legislation?
Actually, I would like to believe that the DevCom scholarship really starts from the ground, but listening to what the people need, particularly here in Mindanao, and this one would help inform policymakers for policies that actually address real needs of people in the community. So we're actually bringing to these policymakers what the people in a particular area here in Mindanao actually need and what kind of policy or reforms would help address those specific issues or concerns.
Thank you for that,
Maybe
Ms.
Ma'am Shi
Rechelle.
would have something to add,
Yes.
please.
Nothing na reached. All good. Got it covered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much po, Doc. I think I have an extended question for that. So, are there any also cross institutional endeavors to connect and share best practices in DevCom research? For example, from DevCom in Los Baños with Xavier University and other areas of the Philippines.
I think there's an intersection with that one. I'm currently finishing my PhD in UPLB. So I'm not only there to study, but I'm also doing some informal benchmarking. There are other colleges and state universities also here in Mindanao who does benchmark to us right now, like literally this moment, we have the University of Ateneo de Zamboanga University, who's also here to benchmark and explore some collaborative activities and engagements with them. I think Doc Sheila would also be able.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes po, Doc.
Yeah. We don't have yet a solid interinstitutional collaboration, but I think that's something that we would like to do in the future. It's kind of a challenge for us because we don't have so many DevCom schools in Mindanao. Well, there are a few, yes, but so our geographical location kind of serves as a challenge. But we are very much open to collaborations and partnerships. We have started with small steps like being part of PSMRI, for example. This could be our entry to a collaboration with member institutions. And for our DevCom group, we used to be very active with ADZEP, but we'd like to rekindle that. We're actually thinking of maybe co-organizing one of the events next year for our 50th. So yeah, that could be an opportunity for us as we turn 50 next year. We'd like to do more collaborations for sure, especially limited to the agriculture now since our transfer to the College of Arts and Sciences. So yeah, exciting things ahead for that.
Thank you so much, Doc Sheila and Miss Rochelle. And I think I would like to also ask this that personally as a DevCom researchers yourselves, what are the current barriers of development communication researchers that you are currently experiencing or facing within the field, given that we have this kind of social political climate happening in our country?
I would like to start that most of our DevCom research really comes from the field, and many of these would be action research. As a researcher and part of the academia myself, it's always a struggle to also balance the need to the university's demand to get the research published when what you really want is to also just use this research for the community. After the research, bring it to the community, do some action research, do participatory project. But there's also the demand of the university to also get your research published. So you're torn in between of going back to the community and design communication projects that work versus adhering to the demands of the university to really do research for the academe, which I personally would say are not being read by people in the communities that we want to serve.
Okay, that's it, Miss Rochelle.
Yep, yep.
Okay, how about you, Dr. Sheila?
If I may just add, no, just a rejoinder. Yes, we've been doing a lot of community-based research the last years, and um, we'd like to believe that they're very, of course, they're very realistic, and as much as we can, we try to give it back to the communities that we serve. So yes, this also this feeling of do we have to have this published like in the academic journals and the like, but then I get inspiration from what the people from these communities tell us, what their stories tell us. And so, like personally, I don't want to focus on this academic journal publication, although it's a requirement. But rather be focusing on this more very community based research, and then that we're able to tell these people of the results of this research, and hopefully this will inform their decisions to change their situations on the ground, because that's essentially what DevCom is all about, very much centered on people and on development. I mean, essentially it captures of development communications, people centered. No? So, but still, again, yeah, as what Rich said, it's really trying to put a balance on catering to the demands of the academia, and also the other side, which is the serving the communities. And so it's kind of difficult, but for now I'd like to focus on people, which is also sticking to our commitment to development communication as a practice and as a field.
Okay, thank you for that, Doc. I think I have here one last question to direct. Okay. So I think I'm going to try to combine this both. What I think I need to focus it more on the aspect of the context. So what are the unique aspects and maybe also the challenges endorsing or even enriching development communication in the landscape per se of Mindanao? And of course, what are actually the nuances have you captured in terms of place-based praxis?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, Patrick. Now, I think what makes development communication practice unique in the landscape of Mindanao is that in Mindanao, there are stories that are worth sharing, and these stories often do not get in the mainstream because we are all bombarded with mainstream issues, um, socio-political dynamics and concerns. In many of our experiences, say for example, I would like to cite an example. In our photography class, we do immersions in various peri-urban communities in the province. And many of these stories do not get featured in mainstream media. But these are lives of people, their livelihood. They are farmers, they are probably livestock farmers or whatever. There are places that people have not seen. So there are a lot of unique culture, practices, and customs that's worth talking about, that's worth discussing. And these stories, some of them might not be good one, but they are our practice in DevCom provide a unique platform in sparking conversations that we may want to lead to policy reforms that address their needs. And because we're in Mindanao, we have a lot of unique culture in different peri-urban communities, even in this just part of our island, like where we're in northern Mindanao. There's a different story. There are different stories to tell in central Mindanao, in southern Mindanao, in the Barm. And these stories may not have a platform, may not see itself in a platform where people will listen, where people will take action, where policymakers can actually do something for them.
Thank you so much, Miss Rochelle. How about you, Miss Sheila?
Um, well, I would like to believe that we're doing our share of impact in where we are right now in Philippines, northern Mindanao, Cagayan de City. Yes, what Rach said is all true. We don't have that big of a platform where we can, be the voice or the voiceless in our part of the country. But we have our fair share of doing a lot of things already. Being so much involved in policy making at the city level. For example, we've been greatly involved now in the risk communication plan of Cagayan de City, and we're very proud that we were invited to take part in the planning because it's a very realistic and very real for us. Disasters have been happening in our part of the country, and our city has been very active in addressing this. And so we are very happy that we are part of the team, which actually made sure that the plans for the risk communication plan would be in place, no? And so these are little victories that we'd like to claim ownership of, and there are other areas where we are very much active, like maybe small community work, but really the ripples are big, no? And even if we don't get published we don't get this spotlight from the mainstream media in Manila, Imperial Manila as we call it, we are doing some progress in our corner of the country, and we want to keep on doing that. And maybe if there are opportunities to do like to be covered big time, we would welcome that. But we don't want to stop doing what we're doing right now because I think we are very much needed where we are. And even though it's like the 21st century, our problems in the city, in our region, are still, very, very real and very, very difficult. And that's where we find our purpose in developing communication work, in educating future development communicators and taking part in development communication activities. And we're very proud of that. But of course, you would welcome, more collaboration and partnerships in all areas, research, and especially action research, participatory communication, and in other areas where we can proactively contribute to development, which is essentially the goal of DEFCON. So it's not actually, we're not sad that we're not being covered by the mainstream. We're doing our own thing here, and at least our partners in the community recognize us, and I think that's the most important thing, right? If people from Manila or from the bigger media outfits can cover that, well and good. But if not, it's also well and good. So all is well where we are at the moment, and we'd like to continue doing this for as long as we can. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sheila, and thank you so much also, Rechelle. So, just to wrap everything up, I think it's really quite imperative for us to understand that in terms of the political landscape, specifically the development communication scholarship, there really is this so-called mainstream scholarship, or the Manila centric imperialist scholarship that sometimes tones down or even shows does not highlight at all the petite narratives present from the other regions, specifically with Visayas and Mindanao. And I think that's one of the great achievements that is being done directly by Xavier University, and of course from the other regions, that they get to highlight the petite narratives of the different regions present. And thank you so much for that, Dr. Sheila and Miss Rechelle. And I think that wraps up our open forum session. I hope you enjoyed the Q&A session. I think I enjoyed it directly. And thank you once again to our speakers and participants for such a rich exchange of ideas. At this point, we take the time to recognize the invaluable contributions of our research persons. PACMRI proudly awards the certificates of appreciation to our distinguished speakers. So for the awarding, I will read the certificate. So the Philippine Association for Communication and Media Research Incorporated awards the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Shiella C. Balbutin, and of course to Miss Rechelle and Tolinero Barraquias, okay, in recognition of their valuable time and expertise as research speaker for the masterclass titled Notes from the Field Scholarship Trends in the Development Communication Landscape of Mindanao. This live event is held online and is part of the PACMRI 2025 Masterclass series given this 28th day of November 2025. Of course, it was signed by our president, Dr. Chen, and of course, Noel Sajid Murad. Now, we are deeply grateful for your time, effort, and expertise shared. So, for our closing directly, may I call on the Assistant Professor Noel Sajid Murad, the PACMRI Director for Research, for his closing remarks.
Okay. Kyle, can you hear me? Am I coming in clear?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doc Shi and Miss Rech, for graciously accepting our invitation to serve as resource speakers for this very special PACMRI Masterclass by Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan. I had the absolute pleasure of visiting Xavier University as a facilitator for the Global Media Migration Academy, or GMMA Youth Camp, with the International Organization for Migration, or IOM, in September 2023. And I can attest that the entire faculty of the Development Communication Department are really training their students to be the next generation of media practitioners and advocates who are grounded in the lived sociopolitical and economic realities of our fellow Filipinos who need help the most. So I hope that the trends that were shared with us today open our eyes to the many ways scholarship can help advance the movements on the ground that bring to surface and demand justice for the systemic and structural inequalities that our farmers, our fisher folks, and others in the informal agricultural sector face on a daily basis. So with collaboration, as Doc Shi and Ms. Rechelle have mentioned, no, I hope we can come up with more participatory research that demands change in policies to make the Philippines a more just and equitable country for everyone. One that we are not only happy to live in, but proud to share to the world. So thank you very much once again to our amazing, amazing, and lovely speakers. I know they're very, very busy, but they really took out the time to be with us today. We see you and appreciate all that you do. Thank you very much, Kyle, also for helping host and moderate the session. Thank you as well to our institutional partners who are present with us today. We have one last masterclass session in store for you next Friday with our friends and partners from the University of Santo Tomas. So please do join us and spread the word around. I'm also very, very happy to announce that thanks to our Director for Information and Linkages, you can now find all of our PACMRI Masterclass session recordings on the resources page of our PACMRI website. So please do note, all these resources are absolutely free. Should you wish to use them as references in your communication and media courses, we'll be more than happy to provide you the links with this. So maraming salamat ulit. We are starting a new year in about 2.5 months time. On behalf of PACMRI, really hoping that you can join us and let's build that network of communication media practitioners and scholars so that we can really get that DevCom trends and all other trends like circulating with the best practices amongst one another.